Oh, welcome back to the Happy Hour. Jared and Dave here. We're on with Sam. And Sam, what's your last name? Owens and Kish North from the Utah Patriots. They're gonna come on and they're gonna talk to us about the
incident from Jacob City, the fire.
Yeah. They've got a little story to tell about it, and we just we're excited. We're interested to hear what they have to say about it,
especially since it's so local and affects all of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So go ahead and take it away, gentlemen.
Well, I'll start, then I'll pass it off to Sam because Sam's got some vital. But what happened was, I think Sam initiated this because Sam lives out in that community, and Sam was like, "There's a fire going on," and Sam, and you can correct me, Sam, as I go down here, but Sam reached out to me and said, "I've met with the local fire chief and the guys that were running, and we need to do something. We need to help them out." So he reached out to me. We run a Utah Patriots rapid response team as well. Mm-hmm. So we have a private chat, and he reached out in the group, and I'm like, "We're in." There's no question. That's why we created the group, right? And I remember several years ago, before Sam got involved, but we did this because CMU reached out to me, a local militia group, because there was a big fire down south. And same thing, those guys went and bought a 300-gallon water tank because some of the firemen who do the leach lines, or the lines that run up towards the fire, and they spray the gutters with water and things like that, right? Well, they'd been cut off in the water and situation. So CMU went out and bought a tank, and they needed someone to deliver it. My wife had to hop in her truck, and we drove down and did that. So when Sam brought this up, I'm like, we're in. So I then went out to my community and just requested donations. The community trusts what we do, and that's what happened. That's the initial story, right, Sam? Is that kind of how that went down initially?
Yes, that's so the day the fire started, we were out doing some training, and by the time I got home, I got word that they shut off not sure if they shut it off or they weren't letting people drink off of the water, the tap water up in the city where the fire was. So I also got word that they were donating cases of water to help the community up there. And in my garage, I always have, stock of cases of waters and stuff like that, just for emergency. So I load up 10 cases of water, and I went down there, met up with some people in front of the fire station, and I gave it to them. So the following day, I woke up, the fire was still going. So I decided to take a drive up to where the fire was, and I met with a couple of firemen up there. So they spoke to me about what was going on. They kept me up to date on what they're working on and how the fire was going. And it doesn't seem like it was going anywhere at that point. And they also mentioned to me that there was a command post down at one of the school, and I think that was Tooele High School. So I drove down there, and I met with a couple of head guys down there, and I asked if there's anything that they need. We can bring, cases of water or snacks. And what I noticed when I was in a command post, there was a table full of donuts. So I wasn't sure if I was in a fire command post or a police station. So donuts. So that's the first thing I noticed. So at the same time, speaking with them, I reached out to my wife. My wife does a lot of, she has reach in our Polynesian community. And I asked, maybe you can reach out to some of your people. Let's get some stuff down here. And that's when I reached out to Kish, because it was a last minute deal. I said, Kish, maybe some of you guys can grab cases of water or something like that. And then I walked with one of the gentlemen towards the parking lot, and I noticed a half a pallet of cases of water. And I asked the gentleman, "Is this all you have?" And he said, "Yes, but we appreciate, all your help, with water and stuff." So that's how it started. And Kish came through. He drove all the way down from Utah County with his folks and a truck full of water.
Yeah. So I went out to my church community because it was a Sunday morning, and I went at 9:00, and I mentioned the men's group, and 3 people came up and handed me $20 each. So that's $60. And then I reached out to my Utah Patriots community, and we got a bunch of more donations. And then my Utah Patriots guys. So we ended up, besides Sam's 10, you had those, we had over 65, 70 cases of water delivered. And then we loaded my truck, and we bought 21 pizzas, ordered them there in Tooele. Boys met us there, and we went to drop them off at the school. And as we drove to school, we saw the sign, and I think the sign said, "Not taking any more donations. Please call this number to drop off your donations." And Sam should tell you what happened during that time frame of what someone posted on his wife's Facebook page when she put out a call to action. Go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, so I wasn't, sure at that point what was going on. There was a sign, there was a number to call, and I called the number right away. Nobody answered. I called 3 times as I was driving towards this box truck, and I thought the box truck was the fireman, loading up water and take it up to the, on the bottom of the mountain where the fire was. So as I approached the 2 ladies, the other lady wasn't having it. She asked directly. She said, "What can we help you with?" And I said, "I got more waters. Is that for the firemen?" And she said, "No, we don't need anything. They don't need anything. We're all set." The other lady approached me and said, "Can you take down your post on social media?" And I said, "I don't engage on social media. I don't know what you're talking about. But I was here earlier today. This is the command post." And she said, "No, this is not the command post." So I was confused until I walked around and I noticed the sign on the truck is CRC or something like that. So, okay, this is not the fire crew. So I ignored them and I walked straight down to where everybody was, and Kish followed me there. So it was a bit of a, confusing situation at the time. I was lost. I didn't know what was going on. And I even asked the 2 ladies, I mentioned the names of the gentlemen that I spoke with. They had no idea who I was talking about. So that's how it started.
And I just want to interject there. Tooele CRC, that stands for
the Community Resource Center. That's that lady we had in. They reach out and help out like homeless or people who are financially endangered in the community. But were they there aiding in gathering supplies for the fire station, or did someone send you to the wrong thing?
See, yeah, that's the thing. They were loading up all the waters that was there, the half a pallet that I mentioned. They loaded it up into a truck and they were taking it. So I wasn't sure where they were taking it to. And it's just the way that she approached me to begin with kind of threw me off a little bit. And I wasn't in the mood to discuss this with her because that's not the people that I spoke to in the morning. So when I realized the side of the truck said something else, I just kind of ignored them and I walked straight to where the command post was. But yeah, it was. I understood later who they were and what they were doing, but we are here trying to help our first responders. My house is in the bottom of that mountain. I can't fight the fire. This is the least I can do is reach out to my community and my folks and see if we can help out in some way, somehow. If they were there to assist as well, it would have been nice to know if we can work together. We could work something out and, okay, we got some donations, stuff like that. I can't take it back. People already spent their money. They bought the water and all that. So what can we do to assist? Not just push us away type of deal. That's how I felt at the time.
Yeah, so Sam and I walked down. I followed Sam. We went in there, talked to them. The gentleman that Sam had talked to, the post commanders there, were in a meeting. They were going to come out later. We told them what we're doing. They're like, yeah, just drop the stuff off there. I'm like, great. I took my son, my 15-year-old son and his friend, just to teach them about service and things like that. I like to include my kids. So they brought down the 21 pizzas, and we had some boxes of bars, and we go back up, and we go back towards where we're going to drop this off by the CRC truck. And I tell my son to whip the truck around because we're going to unload it. Well, they start walking up my son in his truck. You know, I teach him how to drive at a young age, and they're like, no, you can't drop it off here. I'm like, please don't talk to my son. I said, you can talk to me. We're dropping these supplies up. We talked to the commander. We've been told to put them here. Oh, they threw a hissy fit, started arguing. Within 3 minutes, police showed up. They called the officer. So he started coming, and I walked over, and she just kind of like, come here to the officer. They went around the truck. We spent 4 or 5 minutes talking. The officer turned around, walked away, got in his patrol car, and left. Nothing else said. And they drove off more than frustrated. Yeah. So what the icing on the cake to me was, when that all happened, Sam and I looked over, and there comes out one of the commanders with half the pizzas. So I walked over, and he's like, hey, thank you so much. The chopper pilots haven't eaten in a long time. We're taking it up to them right now. And he zips out of there and heads up to the base camp up there. So we drop it all off. And then one of the guys, Reed in our group, decides to go down to where the camp is, where Sam had gone before. And he rolls up through the cones and goes up there. And there's a baseball field up there. I don't know what it's called. And that's where the helicopters come in and rest, and they're eating. Do you remember what that's called, Sam? Where that is?
No.
So anyways, it's regardless. So we went up there, and then I'm headed home, and I get a phone call from Reed. He goes, we should bring the supplies up here. That way they get there. Mm-hmm. So we spun back around. We loaded up half the waters and the bars, and we started zipping back up there. We get up there, and we met with the commander up there, and he's like, man, this is more than a wonderful thing that you guys are doing. Went back to the metal shed where they store the stuff. And as I'm driving slowly, I see in almost every truck a box of pizza. So nice. I knew they were hungry. Sam and I know they were hungry. Sam had done the research, the groundwork ahead of time. We gave them a couple hundred bars, protein bars. And then I guess Sam had decided, or spoke to someone. Sam went back, because 2 of our other group went and dropped more water. He went back up and got all the rest of the supplies. And Sam and his wife drove up and dropped them off up there as well. So that's really what had happened there. And then I jetted, and Sam stayed, and he had some great conversations and interactions when you're up there, didn't you, Sam?
Yes, I did. It was actually Reed, and I spoke with one of the pilots, the helicopter pilots. He really appreciated what we did there. And the water and the pizza and all that. And he kind of, went into detail of how the fire was going. And he even mentioned at that point that the fire was going to take, a couple of days, possibly a week, to put out. That's how big the fire was. And I knew at that point, we needed to help some way, with supplies, with that many days, flying over the fire, the heat and all that, they're going to be hungry. They're going to be thirsty, that. So that's, that was it.
Yeah. And guys, it hits home for me. I've got a son that is a fireman in California, 6 years in the military in Lackheath Air Force Base. And he did a couple of years in the force. So when I told him what I was doing, just because we communicate every day, he's like, man, they need food. I'm like, tell me why. He goes, because sometimes they work 16-hour shifts, California anyways. They give us a bag lunch, some salad.
Oh, Kish rose up. But yeah, they need calories. They're running up and down a mountain. We'll see if Kish can.
I myself, I remember during the beginning of the Afghan war, we would try
Kish and tell him
we would try to get pizzas to the Marines as we're conquering Afghanistan, and our public health officer would get in the way. He'd be like, oh, these aren't from a designated source. They haven't been inspected, yada, yada, yada. So we hide the pizzas from the public health officer, put them in the C-130 and be like, yeah, you got that, buddy.
You got to sneak them in. Well, that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if either there was a like a government official. Sorry, guys, our cameras are going to be messed up for a second while Kish jumps back in. I'm wondering if there wasn't a government official that, I don't know, maybe just got in the way because that's what they do, or I don't know. That makes me wonder, but
I wasn't 100% sure either, but I've done a lot of community service. Within our community, we do a lot of outreach programs and youth programs and stuff. Mainly down in Salt Lake. This is the first time I've engaged with the Tooele County folks, so it's a little different than from Salt Lake. Salt Lake is a little tougher.
I'm sure.
And we dealt with a lot of nonprofit organizations. We have a nonprofit organization, so I understand how these things work. So the first thing that came to my mind, so possibly, when Tooele City or county realize that there is a need out there, so they push out their resources in that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like our nonprofit organization, in order for us to continue receiving resources and fundings for what we do, we need to push out, to the community and get things done, get work done. So that's the first thought, but I don't know. I'm not saying that that's what really happened and whatnot, but that was the first thing that popped up in my head. So maybe it was something like that, and we just kind of pop up in the way and kind of took over that area for them.
Yeah, you might be completely correct. They may have just not been prepared to handle prepared is not the right word, because regardless, they should have had some preparation for additional people showing up, for people dropping stuff off. But still, it's kind of maybe not a black eye on the community, but it is kind of rough when the firefighters come out to fight, and some of them I'm sure were local, but I'm sure a lot of them were called in from other areas, and the community shows up to say, hey, thank you, and all this stuff. And not just the community. I mean, we're talking Kish has guys coming from down in Utah County sending support.
That's a lot of love to give to Tooele, and it's sad to say, but I mean, like, a lot of these people probably have never dealt with a situation like this in that organization, and they were probably frustrated. I know my wife can get frustrated at least once a month, and it can be it can be devastating. So I mean, people just get frustrated.
Your wife is paragon of poise and grace under the dire of circumstances.
Absolutely, yeah.
So what happened after is some cool things. Sorry about cutting off. There was a thunderstorm and there was lightning, and there was a little break, and that's what happened. But some people posted some things after the fact, and some people really didn't know there's a fire. Living in Tooele sometimes, or next to any mountain, we can see the smoke farther away when we're far away. When you're up close, sometimes people don't see those things, right? They're busy working, and people are like, oh my gosh, there's a fire. What can we do? And I just posted, hey, put a care package, a bunch of little care packages together in your cars. When you see a firefighter, first responder, stop it off. Make sure, you're not freaking them out and scaring them, and just saying, hey, I hear you guys are busy. Here you go. You can show your appreciation in multiple ways, right? I am no way coming on here to brag about what Utah Patriots does. That's not what service is, guys. That's not what I'm here to do. We were talking to you just because of the frustration we had. I can get it if they were the point of contact, but when there's service dealt and it's a quick, rapid response situation, no one's in charge, really. Who's in charge? It's the fire chief. The guy's in charge. That's what Sam did. He did some reconnaissance, did what he does best. Hey, here's what we got. Great, bring it on, guys. So blocking us and going, no, you can't do that. What's the alternative motive? That's what comes to mind first, right? Probably wrong, but that's what comes to mind first. That's all.
Yeah, it's probably, let's face it, the CRC is probably used to dealing with a different circumstance where they're used to dealing with people with their hand out asking for stuff. And when people show up just wanting to hand stuff off and get it there quickly. It doesn't need to be logged. It doesn't need to be recorded. It probably threw them off their game a little bit. And I would hope that if they're used in future circumstances, that now they recognize that's a different tempo. And because honestly, you drop off the water and the pizzas. What they should have done was they should have said, look, the guys are over there on the mountain. It's quicker if we don't even take them out of your truck. You just drop them off there. And that's how it should have been dealt with, because they don't need to show up at a command post that is across the street from a convenience store.
You're right, Jared, but no buts, but you're right. The problem lies is they didn't do the recon like Sam does, where we knew where the base was, and we're not afraid of the cones. And being the guys we are, some of us at the military, we can talk to the officers, get through the cones and get up there. They're probably not equipped or feel comfortable doing that either.
That's probably true.
And they probably thought maybe as you were thinking, what's their alternative motive? Maybe they thought the same from you guys. Because, I'm sure that can be pretty intimidating when you see people ready and prepared and they're coming at you. So
let's not do that in Utah. Let's not be prepared. That's not a good thing.
Yeah.
So tell me about this response team, though, that you've built. What was the process to actually build something like that? And is there a goal in the future to expand it or make it more available?
Sure. Well, Utah Patriots, we've been on the show before. So Utah Patriots was, almost going on the end of this year, it'll be almost 3 years we've established. Did a lot of initial exercise out there when BLM Antifa was out there doing their stuff, right? So we suited and booted a bunch of us, and not just our group, but multiple groups you've interviewed, right? We went out there. But we just felt as time went on, because there was some good guys within our organization that had some great skills. And it just came to me one night last year that I thought, I want to be prepared. I like to be prepared. I'm not a doomsdayer prepared, but I am prepared, right? I'm trying to get prepared. I get prepared financially. I try to get prepared spiritually. I try to get prepared with food, the ability to defend myself. I get prepared in a lot of different ways, right? So I worry about things in Utah, and I'm trying to get to the point of why we did this. I worry about things that haven't happened here, but happen everywhere else. Floods, earthquakes, natural disasters, riots, the list goes on. Shootings, mall shootings, theater shootings, these kinds of things. So I got this in my mind, and then I went out to a handful of guys in my group, and we talked that I'd known. I'd vetted for years that have worked with me. I'm like, when I say worked alongside me, been out there at events. I'm like, what do you think of the concept, guys? Would you like to get involved? And like, hell yeah, love to get involved in this. So that's what's happened. It's kind of morphed. So the Utah Patriots Rapid Response does, as you saw, first responders. Let's go do some service work out there. Let's go take care of the boys and the girls out there. If there was an earthquake, the first responders, we live on a bench where there's a huge earthquake fault. I was in California 22 years. I lived through multiple earthquakes. I've seen the damage in Whittier earthquake, Northridge earthquake. First responders cannot get to all the people in the damage. They cannot. So my mind went this way. It's probably a very big goal to be prepared like this. But we're growing. I think we've got 14 guys vetted, and we vet well. I want to make sure that the guys that I'm with have my back, whether it's in a firefight, whether it's Sam reaches out, I need some help. Whatever it is, I want to make sure I've got guys that'll step up. And not all 14 can step up at one time, right? People are working, families, but enough step up to accomplish the goal at the time. So that's kind of where we're at. Can people get involved? You bet. Is there a cost? There is not. What the cost is, a good heart, a good mind, the ability to sacrifice some time, and, have a good background and get some trust. That's what it's about.
Hey, who'd you buy those pizzas off of?
Where'd we go, Sam? What'd you do? Pizza Hut? Domino's or something?
Little Caesars.
Little Caesars.
So they had the little green peppers.
So it's just right there.
It was right there. We ordered ahead of time.
Not to mention, you can get a lot more at Little Caesars, and they're made. You can walk in and walk out with 10 pizzas right now. Whereas
That's
if you
what
go
we
to
did.
Domino's or Pizza Hut, you got to stand around for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, if you're getting a pizza, if you're ordering 10,
I don't eat pizza anymore because it's crushing my heart. But when I did, I love Domino's. That'll beat the other ones. But so that's what the rapid response team does. We do a lot of other things. We've been doing a lot of helping with the Utah Patriots doing fundraisers. We do events, barbecues. We had one 2 months ago. It was huge.
You got another one coming up, right?
Yeah, the 29th. I'm trying to segue into the other portion of the conversation.
I know, right? I go
I'm
right
doing
through
your
the door.
job for you. Sorry, guys. But the 29th, we have one. So that's being prepared now. And the purpose of this one initially was just another cool barbecue for the summer. We like doing them. People like to come out and be with like-minded people. But what happened was 2 weeks ago, I was approached by Jen and Sophie, the two red pills. You know those ladies?
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
You
You,
know?
just don't know. You know that you know.
2 red pills.
They're the ladies doing the
Voter integrity.
the voter integrity, the election.
Oh, yeah.
Compromise.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
2 red
So-
pills.
They have their own podcast. Yeah.
Oh, do they? Okay.
Yeah. So what we did was, I guess 6-7 months ago, I was approached to do a fundraiser for them because they wanted to purchase all of the electoral data in the state of Utah to audit it. Right.
Mm.
So it cost, don't quote me, $225 per county for the data, because for some reason they don't want to give the data to the public, which we deserve.
Well, hey, I don't know if you recognize how governments work, but as a subject of the government, you're not supposed to know what the government has going on.
You think? You think? So here's one for you. It'll get even worse. So we raised, I don't know, $12,000 or $14,000, what was needed. We had people from Weber County that paid the fee. Whatever county, people pitched in. It was wonderful. Did the party, raised the money, gave it to purchase. We went to purchase it. Cox, Henderson, and others blocked us and said, we're not giving you the data.
Wait a second. They can block the purchase?
They did. They blocked the purchase.
Like they
said,
actually
"You're
physically
playing
blocked
with
it?
Fire.
They claimed what?
You're playing with fire, end quote, Governor Cox said.
Well, we're going to have to look into that because
It gets worse.
that is,
So we used the funds, Jen and Sophie, to then file and not a lawyer, but to file the pleadings in court to get the documents. It went to court, got kicked out a week and a half ago, mistrialed, out. So now we have to go back to a higher court. So they came to me and said, we got to raise some more money so we can refile and do it. So I turned this barbecue into somewhat of a fundraiser. We're going to auction stuff off and raffle stuff off so we can get some proceeds to continue this fight. Because in September, the federal law and the state is that they can shred all these documents.
Do you know
Done.
where do they hold the documents right now?
I don't have an answer to that question.
I wonder what they're afraid they're going to find out that means they're playing with fire.
Yeah.
What happened in Utah? Because obviously it had nothing to do with the presidential election because he walked away with it in Utah.
But there's still,
What is it going to do to our Utah, our Utah seats?
Well, it raises my confidence for sure.
Oh, I feel totally secure in all of that. I mean, yeah.
in the Capitol, they had a vote on this, and it was brought up, the subject matter, to have a audit in the state of Utah. One person voted for it, and they stood up, and multiple of these senators stood up and said, "We are beyond reproach," end quote. Can you believe that?
Well, that's what I say to all my girlfriends. I'm beyond reproach. Oh,
You're beyond being approached, is what they're trying to say. Don't approach me.
We need to call in our local senator and the House reps and sit down and ask them about this.
You do. The only guy that's for this is Phil Lyman. Great guy. Phil backs us 100%.
Phil Lyman, he's from down south, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah, we met him when we went down there.
Yep, Phil's a great guy, so he supports this. So
He's the only one.
Very few want to support this. Very few want to get their hands dirty. Is the problem?
Maybe
does it cost money to do this?
It shouldn't, but it did.
No, it should cost you nothing. You should be able to file for this as citizens in the state of Utah.
You should be able to walk in there and say, I want to see these, and then maybe say, all right, you have to pay for the paper. And that's it. Oh,
you should hear Jen and Sophie's story. They go in for what is called grammar requests, the data from your emails. That should cost pennies.
Yeah.
They ordered it from someone, the story was, and they got a bill for like $20,000. 20 grand. So they went back and tried to do a legal action. They got it down to $2,500. But why would you try to bill them 20 grand initially? They're trying to, I don't even want to use the word. They're just trying to block everything.
They're just trying to scare them away.
Everything.
And you know what? Don't start messing with Mormon housewives. Those are some tenacious critters. Don't start. They've got time and perseverance. Don't start playing around with them.
Yeah, it's not even Mormon. I mean, Jen's not LDS, but Sophie is. But these women are.
Okay, I should say Utah housewives.
Yeah.
I've seen Utah housewives get some stuff done.
They are ferocious.
Yeah.
You know, they've been on Mike Lindell. They've been all over the country now. They're doing Jeremy Harrell interview, a podcast on Tuesday. I mean, they were at the sheriff's meeting in Vegas 2 weeks ago. I mean, these women are making some headway.
Was that sheriff's meeting where it was during the Freedom Fest where the media come out and said it's a group of far-right radical sheriffs that want to overthrow the federal government, where the sheriffs just said, we're going to take an oath not to support any unconstitutional actions in our county?
It's to join as a constitutional sheriff.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard about that. I giggled for a minute,
Yeah. So lots going on. I appreciate you letting me speak about that. And, at the barbecue, there's going to be like Nick Roberts is running for sheriff here now. So he's going to be there. Gowd is coming. On is coming. Some of the people that have made it and kind of running in the next election. So it's just going to be fun. We got a live band. These guys are called Curbside. They play 80s rock and roll.
Oh, nice.
They're fun. Oh, and they live in your neck of the woods. I think they're in Tooele as well. These guys are cool. They're patriots. They come and sing for us. So if you like hamburgers and bratwurst and you like good people, it's only $5. And there's things you can do, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
So where's it at? What time? Lay it out.
Yeah, it's 5:30, the 29th of July here in South Jordan. And it's 11050 South Riverton Parkway. That's 11050 South Riverton Parkway. It's right across from Lifetime Fitness, the big one.
All right.
So
and I'm going to go on your page and steal your advertisement and put it on ours.
Sure.
And make sure we get that.
Hey, Sam, do you have anything coming up you want to talk about? I mean, you guys, Sam Owens and his family do so many good things out there. What do you got coming up, Sam?
Unless you guys like luau's and Kahlua Pig.
Wow.
Got some of those coming up.
I don't know anybody who likes luau's and pigs. I can't think of a single human on earth that doesn't beg any friend they have that knows how to do that to come and do that at parties.
Yeah, we have a couple of events, Polynesian events coming up. August is the busiest month for us. We have festivals and all that, and the list goes on.
Where are you doing those at?
So we have one in Lehigh coming up. There's one going on right now in Kearns. I was supposed to be there, but you guys are more important to me than my people.
I won't lie, Sam. I've always wanted to learn how to do this.
If you'd have told me about it, Sam, we would have done that interview live down there, and we could have we like to give to our guests.
Okay.
We'd have gladly come down there and talk about it.
Bask in the presence of a giant pig.
Yeah. Me on the radio with greasy fingers. That's what it'd be.
There you go.
That'd be great. So if any of your listeners want to get involved in the rapid response team, they can reach out through the website and email me, and we could chat. We're always looking to grow a good base to be prepared for things that come up, for sure.
And that's utahpatriots.com, correct?
Yep.
Correct.
Or on Facebook, Utah Patriots.
Yep. And there's a Telegram chat. We have a private one, but there's a group Telegram chat called, I don't even have these memorized. It's unlike you. We have so many different chat groups. It's crazy. But you look us up on Telegram. It's called Utah Patriots Freedom Chat. Utah's plural Patriot Freedom Chat. And you can go on the website and get on our mailer if you want to be more private that way. But we are I think anyone in the state of Utah that's a patriot belongs to Utah Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
It was on Jason Preston's show yesterday. He goes, well, what's it cost? And who are members? I'm like, everyone is. That's why I picked a name that's synonymous with everybody. Everyone belongs to the patriot community who listens. I mean, that's what they should be. We have huge changes to make in the state of Utah. Huge. You know, General Flynn said, don't try to make changes federally. You got to make them locally.
Right.
Because that's the only power we have. But I listened to your last hour, and, you know, the problem is, and I'll segue this, problem is not what you said, but what you brought up was the government wants to control us in every facet of our life.
Mm-hmm.
They want us to kneel and be dependent upon them. It's always been happening in our inner cities. We see it in Chicago and Detroit and Baltimore and Seattle. We see it. Well, they're trying to do it across the board, whether it's ESG. I mean, you talk about it in every facet, pricing, economy, inflation. They want us to go, yes, master, whatever you want. And it stops when we, the people, say it stops. It won't stop until we, the people, say it stops. It won't.
Well, that's right.
It will not.
Mm-hmm.
That is right. Never forget, our government will trample you to keep their power, not to improve things, just to keep their power.
And in today's internet age, we are more and more capable of being self-responsible and self-governing. So validation and their validity is their key to survival. And that's why they want to separate us and make us fight each other versus looking at them and saying, we can do better.
That's interesting, the word validation you said. Human beings now use so much internet from Facebook, Instagram, all these websites for validation. It's so true. Everyone wants to be validated now. How many clicks can I get? How many likes can I get? How many this? Validation works across the board. Government, socially, it's all about getting validated. There's no more talking face to face. People don't know how to do that. It's rare. I look at my kid, I'm like, was that a phone call you were on? Because you sure don't know how to handle a phone call. Hi, how are you, Betsy? Good. How are you? Great. Have a good day. Okay, talk to you later. It's not that. What up? What's up? Later. Like,
Yeah.
Wow. Could never get a job in this stuff. I mean, back in the 80s, you couldn't get a job. You spoke like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. But they talk like we used to talk in person. When you'd meet your friends at the gas station to get nachos and a Mountain Dew, right? You would have that was your friend. You'd have that intimate communication with them where you knew the inside jokes. You knew the meanings of movement. But their gas station now is on the internet.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone told me yesterday is interesting. Back to the last thing we're talking about was, and I'm not a historian at all, but he was talking about back, I think, Revolution. We stopped buying from the British, and that's what changed everything, right? They just cut it off. We were talking about school.
Well, that's
talking
why
about education. Talk about education in Utah on why people keep sending their kids to school when it's a public school, but the public have no say in the schools, right? And he says, everyone just needs to pull their kids out of school. We did it way back then with the British. We just cut them off and said, we're not buying from you anymore.
Not only did we not cut them off and stop buying from them, but we also printed our own paperback money. The Continental.
Well, we printed it before. That's deeper conversation because prior to that, it was state papers, which Massachusetts got in heavy trouble for, paying for pirates to raid Canada all the time. Anyways, that was an annual thing that I think it was Massachusetts. But no, you're right. There's a reason we drink coffee in the U.S., and that's because we quit buying tea because they imposed a tax on tea. So we started drinking coffee. You're completely right on that.
And didn't they burn a whole bunch of ships?
Well, they probably, I know, of course you've got the Tea Party, but the interesting thing to look up, and it's not what you think it is when you read into the history of it, is how many governors were tarred and feathered. And that is by far, if you survive it, the worst torture you'd go through because the tar is hot.
So what's the equivalent today? Joseph Smith, they all got tarred and feathered, right? These guys got tarred and feathered. What a nasty thing, right? When I used to roof, I put tar on me and it peels my skin off. It's terrible.
Yeah, imagine that poured on you.
Yeah. So what is it today?
Today, I think you go on the Insta Twitter and you call someone a bad name. That would be the tar and feathering of today.
Oh, you mean like not the right pronoun?
Or you get canceled for something. You know, you get called ugly on TikTok, or you can't dance. That's today. They'll be writing in history books in the future, and it will really reflect how harsh today's society is on morality and ethics, I'm sure.
Well, you guys are invited. If you want to come hang out at this barbecue, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, I'd love to. If I'm still in town, I'll definitely do it.
Yeah.
Just because you said barbecue. I mean, right now, all I'm thinking about is how fast can I get to Lehigh, and can I leave Dave here alone to finish out the show?
Oh, that's right. Well, just do the show at my event. Why are you going to do it there? Do it at my event. Bring people there.
But in Lehigh right now, there's a Polynesian barbecue.
There is.
That's all I'm thinking about now.
Well, you better tell me to shut up, cancel this off, and get over to the luau, man. Are you kidding me?
Sam, do you guys ever go out to Kanaka and do anything out there?
To where?
Kanaka out in Skull Valley?
No.
No? Have you ever been out there?
No. This is the first time I heard of it, though.
You've never been out to Kanaka? And
No.
you live out here in Tooele?
We barely just bought this house about 2 months ago.
All right.
We were in Salt Lake.
Okay.
All right. So you and me, let's get together. I'm going to take you out to Kanaka. That's a piece of the Polynesian history in Utah.
Oh.
Where is the only place that I know of that is near Dugway is Josepa. Are we talking about the same place?
No, this is where the Polynesians lived when they first came here.
Oh, I thought it was.
It's got a cemetery and all this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got a pavilion there too, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I waste a lot of shells there.
Oh,
That's
okay.
where I do
Yeah.
my training.
Yeah. It's by Iosepa, but it's called Kanaka.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah.
So I know that place very well.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm also, I'm also connected with the folks that takes care of the place. So,
Good.
yeah, that's the place where all the Hawaiians were at when they first came to Utah.
Yeah. Could you imagine coming from Hawaii, right? Beautiful, pristine, luscious, and they drop you off on the side of a mountain in a place called Skull Valley.
Right.
And that's what they did. Yeah, my dad knew the old timer, the last living resident from out there. He became an old prospector. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so Sam's very well. He helps. I don't know how much, but he helps quite a bit with the Polynesian event in Thanksgiving Point annually. It's a big one. I went there last year. It was last a few days, right, Sam? That's for the long weekend.
Yeah, it's a 3-day festival. That's the
When
one
does
thing.
it start?
It's in August. It's towards the ending of August, actually.
Yeah, and also just to help, not to him, but Sam owns a company called True Films, and he does some films. He does a really good job with it. Just to let you know.
Well, that's what brought me to Utah. I came here in 2012 for a film that we assisted with at Sundance, and I noticed the prices of gas here, so we decided to stay.
Oh, what? You think they were good back then?
Well, I mean, right now it beats Hawaii now.
Where were you coming from?
From Hawaii, Oahu.
Yeah.
Like the gas prices
You
there.
saw the gas and you turned to your wife and said, "This is the promised land."
We're not going. Yeah, we're not going back. You know, the price of milk here is like what, $2 at the time. It was $10 in Hawaii.
Oh, yeah.
A gallon.
Try to buy a house in Hawaii right now. It's impossible. It's insane.
Yeah, when we
over
were in the market, you know, to trying to find a home, we actually looked into Hawaii and see if we can possibly own one in Hawaii, and there's no way.
there. Yeah. Such a beautiful place to live, though. Oh my God. Those people that have real estate there now, sit on that because it is paradise there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Sam, just out of curiosity, if one of our listeners wants to have a pig barbecue, what does that entail? How do they get in touch with someone who does that, and what would they have to probably fork over to make that happen?
They have to catch the pig.
They have to catch the pig. That sounds awesome.
They have to catch the pig.
Dude,
That'll be fun to watch. But absolutely, I mean, reach out to any of there's a lot of Polynesian restaurants out there. They know somebody that knows somebody. You know, it's usually the case. You know, we're very close in our community. We know pretty much almost everybody in our community. For me, you know, because of what we do, I'm a film producer. We do a lot of educational films, cultural films. I specialize in documentaries. So a lot of people know me because of that. And, you know, and if you find True Film Inc. and you send them a message, say, "Hey, we want a Kalua pig," you know, I'll connect you with somebody. I'm sure I'll find you somebody.
Now, do you put them in the ground?
So there's different ways of doing it. I'm Samoan. I was born in Hawaii and raised in Samoa for, you know, my entire childhood. In Samoa, we cook it above ground. The Hawaiians, they actually dug a hole in the ground, you know, and they cook it underground, and they usually leave it overnight, and it comes out, you know, when you dig it up in the morning, it falls apart. You know, so that's the kalua that you're talking about, and that's the best pork ever, you know, better than
Hands down.
the way that we do it. But the way we do it at Samoan is more crunchy. You know, we like the skin, you know, a little crunchy.
So you do it on a spit?
Yes.
Yeah, I've had it both ways. I'm not going to say no to either. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm not going to say no. It's delicious, especially when you start seeing it. When this is going to sound awful, but when you start seeing the skin crack and the juices rolling out, oh man, you know it's ready.
Yeah, that's the best one.
Oh, yeah.
What's that, Sam? What's that side dish? It's purple. That's with it that I don't like.
But you don't like?
Well, it's the side. When you go to Hawaii, they have the pig and they have this dish that's next to it. It's called, starts with a P, I think.
Poi.
Yeah, me and Poi don't get along. I didn't like that stuff.
Okay, yeah, it's taro smashed. So it's basically what it is.
Oh,
just taro.
I gotcha.
All right, yeah.
So,
well, I'm gonna, yeah. And that is one thing a lot of people in Utah, I think, don't know about, is that we do have a large Polynesian community here from Hawaii, Samoa, Tonga, and all of them have the best food and the best parties. And you need to just, if they have something going on, you need to find it, get there and try it out.
And I got to say, they make them for the best loyal friends.
Oh,
Sam,
yeah.
I considered family and a brother. He's a good man.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They're definitely.
They'll let you know if you like them, if they like you, or if they don't. I used to work out at Delta Airlines, and you had to have the Tongan connection, or you didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a famous saying when you go to Hawaii and you go to one of those luau's, you know, they talk about like how we're making how we cook the food and how we make our foods, you know, and they usually say, when you see smoke coming out of somewhere, go there. They're usually cooking somebody or something.
I love it. I love it. Oh man. Hey guys, thanks for coming on. This has been good. Again, everyone, Utah Patriots, check them out on Facebook. Reach out to Kish, reach out to Sam. Sam's a local guy out here with us. You know, and I think that's good to have the Patriots spread out around the whole state, because Sam's the one who caught it. Well, Sam's wife is the one who caught on to it and then led Sam to reach out and get everyone involved. I think that's an awesome thing. You know, a bunch of people that I mean, Utah County sent up support up here to Tooele.
Thank you for your service. I mean, that's what they always said to us in the military, but we were getting paid. This is true service. When you're not getting paid, we
weren't getting paid a lot, but we were getting paid.
Well, they won't let us back in the service now, so this is how we're serving our country.
I know, it's shocking they don't want this fat old man to go back in the Army.
And, you know, we're in no way saying that Tooele residents couldn't have done this, or they did do it. We're unaware. I'm sure there's other Tooele residents that reached out and did this, and thanks. I'm sure the first responders thank them as well. But I don't look at city names. I don't look at borders. I look at needs.
No, that's great. And it's not, I'm sure Tooele showed up to it, but it's really cool that Utah County showed up too.
Sure.
You know, it's cool that, and I would hope that if Utah County ran into an emergency, you know, Tooele would show up to that.
Well, I need some weeds to my lawn mowed. So
all right.
Almost an emergency, my wife says.
Yeah, definitely. Again, thanks very much, gentlemen. And I got to throw out a quick mention. You guys can go ahead and stick around. So tomorrow down in Grantsville, let me add this on the screen. There is a Pioneer Day down in Grantsville. I'll go ahead and read off, but a Pioneer Day at the farm, July 23rd, 4 to 8 p.m. at Clark Historic Farm. Come celebrate Grantsville's pioneer heritage, bring a blanket or chairs and a picnic for your family. So they're having a Dutch oven cook-off, nice, a quilt display, and games for the whole family. So tomorrow night, get down to Grantsville. Now, I don't know if the Dutch oven cook-off, it's probably too late to sign up as a judge, but if you play your cards right and knock one out behind his car and sneak in under his name, you might get some Dutch oven out of the deal. But yeah, but they got the Pioneer Day. I'm sure there'll be people that are dressed up in classic clothing.
Ood.
Yeah. There'll be vendors there. I'm sure we'll have the beignets with the Navajo tacos. I'm sure that we'll have Taco Man there. So go down and check it out. Pioneer Day at the farm. That's at the Clark Farm. That's on Clark Street in Grantsville. And I'll talk to my dad. Maybe the Sons of the Pioneers will be doing some axe throwing at the same time, because they seem to like to do things like that whenever the Clark Farm has something kicking off. But yeah, so get down there and check it out. I'm sure it'll be cool.
And next coming up, we have Dr. Fleming to talk about all sorts of things that we cannot mention because this will be going on YouTube. So,
oh, shoot. We're just going to have to code word our way through this next conversation. Oh, boy, this is going to be great.
No, you need to pull the curtain back like the Wizard of Oz and ask the hard questions.
Oh, we did that. And
that's when you get censored on YouTube.
They shut you down.
Oh.
Yeah. Every time we've mentioned that, we've had 2 strikes, and both time we're talking about
that thing.
About a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. You know, the thing.
The pen.
Yeah.
The ink pen.
Yep. Gentlemen, thanks again.
Thank you, guys.
You guys are welcome on anytime. Seriously, if you ever need to throw a message out, talk about something.
Appreciate all you're doing.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I want to show. I definitely want to show up anytime you guys are cooking a pig, and I don't care how you cook it.
Yeah, reach out to us, Sam. We want to be there when you do this.
We'll let you know.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful both ways.
All right, guys, take care.
Awesome. Thanks.